Come along with me to Cape Town, South Africa as I capture all the action from the first week of the CrossFit Open, and I'm going to do so using our new feature, Multicam. With a suitcase full of gym gear and a rucksack full of cameras, tripods and mics, I was ready for the 11-hour flight from London to the adventure capital of South Africa. Yes, most people head to Cape Town for the sunshine, wildlife and stunning landscapes, but I was there for the nitty-gritty fitness scene at one of the most important times in the CrossFit calendar. Now, if you haven't delved into the world of CrossFit, it can be essentially described as a form of high-intensity interval training which sees pro and amateur athletes around the world performing strength and conditioning workouts of functional movements. It's an addictive, competitive sport that welcomes people of all ages and abilities, which for an enthusiastic wannabe weightlifter like me is right up my street. So I've come to CY CrossFit in Cape Town to film the action from the CrossFit Games Open, a highly anticipated annual event that sees all global CrossFit athletes perform the same workout to see how much they match up to other CrossFitters around the world. In South Africa, CrossFit is taken extremely seriously, and there's been a huge surge in numbers that have taken up the sport in the last few years. Now, the CrossFit Open is also the first qualifying stage of the CrossFit Games, where the fittest man and fittest woman on earth are crowned, so it's kind of a big deal. For me though, it's an opportunity to test out our new Multicam feature within LumaFusion on a real-life, hectic event. It was about to be 14 minutes of various exercises, and I didn't know what was going to happen, and there's no better way to practice than throw yourself in at the deep end. So we've arrived here at CY CrossFit and I have all my cameras with me. I've got an Insta360 X3, I've got 2 different iPhones and an Android, and I also have a GoPro. So my plan is now to just go around the gym, find the best angles for the athletes. As you can hear, the cleaners are in the background, so I have a little bit of time now to just find the best shots, find the best angles, and then hopefully we'll get a real full coverage of the athletes working out. And the action kicked off. I had one camera set up on a desk tripod, which I designed to be overlooking the gym floor as my static wide shot, a medium shot facing the rowers head on, and a close-up from the side to capture their expressions as they went through the first exercise of the workout. My first challenge of the shoot was made apparent as the music from the speakers was so loud and booming it was causing my camera on the desk tripod to shake, so I had to take it off the box as it was resting on and use it as a handheld roving camera. After the athletes had finished on the rowers, they moved over to the wall to complete a horrendous amount of wall balls and toes to bar movements. This in itself was tough to film in the moment as they were moving around so quickly, and it was tricky to see where they were going to move next. And trust me, asking a tired CrossFit athlete to stay in one position or not take as many breaks is something that you don't want to do. So when they're giving it their all, you've only got one shot to capture it. At this stage, I was running around trying to move the cameras into new positions. Now, in an ideal world, they'd all be static on tripods, beautifully framed and in different places around the shoot, running through the entirety of the workout. But the athletes were constantly moving around and there was only one of me filming the event. So I did my best, and after all the action, I really didn't know whether what I had captured was going to be good enough. But what I did have was FOMO, so of course I had to give the workout a go myself. After all, CrossFit is not a spectator sport, and I thought I had to get involved. So as you can see, I've just finished the workout myself.
She killed it!
But guys, the work doesn't stop here, because now we have to put all the cameras together and enter it into Multicam so that we can have a really amazing edit. So,
But it's going to look
great,
unreal.
but you know, back to work, coach! Woo! Okay, so now we're ready for the edit, and the first job I've got to do is, of course, gather all the content together from the different devices. So today I'm choosing to edit on my iPhone, so I'm going to bring all of that content into my Photos app. I'm going to start a new album, I'm going to rename it so it's really easy to access within LumaFusion. Now I'm going to show you how I put these cameras together with Multicam Studio. This whole process took me about 20 minutes, but I'm going to condense this for you here and explain how I did it. So the first step I took was to open a new Multicam container by tapping the add clip icon at the bottom of the editor. Before I started adding my clips to the synchronizer though, I wanted to rename all the shots in my CrossFit album to describe which bit of footage was taken with which camera. This was to make it easier when working in the synchronizer to see which track each clip should sit on, as sometimes I had taken multiple shots with the same camera. So I wanted to use one track for each device I'd filmed content on. So once I was finished renaming my clips, I added my first camera to the synchronizer. This clip here was taken with my iPhone, so I dragged and dropped that into the drop zone for track 1. Once that was in place, I moved onto my Android device and dragged that into the drop zone of my second track. Now, because the music of the gym was so loud, I knew I was going to have to manually sync my clips. So I tapped the sync method icon here to put it in manual mode so I could drag my clips into place. So now for the sync. I was looking for a visual element that was going to be the same in both of these shots, and I decided on this moment here where Brad stretches his arms out in front of him. I knew this was going to be an easy moment to spot in both cameras, so I split the Android clip at the top of his arm stretch like this, and I did the same for the iPhone camera too before lining them up. Now, after a quick check matching the footage together, I added my second of the Android clips. Again, this time looking for a striking moment that I could use to visually sync these clips. So the moment Holly drops the bar here was easy to spot, as it was the first time she had done that movement of the entire workout. So I split the Android clip at that very moment, matched it up with the exact frame on the iPhone footage, and then dragged my clip into place and stretched it out. My third Android clip was really easy to sync because I focused on the moment Brad grasped the rings above him in his attempt to do a muscle up. So the moment his fingers wrapped around the ring like this was my chance to swoop in and sync the clips. Now you'll notice I'm making this easier for myself by moving frame by frame through the shots by swiping left and right here on the preview bar. There's really no room at this moment to be slapdash, so it's a really useful feature to take advantage of when you're manually syncing your shots. Next, I added footage from Holly's iPhone, which I used on the day in addition to my set. Now, this was a different camera, so I put it on a different track below. To sync this clip, I looked for the same movement I'd used previously, so Holly's barbell landing on the floor after her first clean. I personally really like this technique of splitting clips on the action point, dragging into place to sync, and then extending back out again, because it enables you to move the footage around easily and place your clips on the exact frame you want. Now I just had 2 more clips to go, this time from the Insta360 X3, and this time I compared it with the Android close-up footage to sync the clip with the movement Brad makes in his first pull on the rower. You have to go back and forth a few times to check the sync, as you can see I'm doing here, and I find it's really worth doing this just to take that extra bit of time to make sure it's right. Lastly, I had the GoPro footage, which was actually quite minimal as I didn't use the camera a lot in the shoot, but I did use it to get a sneaky shot of the athletes in pain at the end, which is always a good scene to capture. So in this case, I synced it with Holly, give me a thumbs up here. Now something like that was a bit tricky to find the exact frame because you can see she's moving her hand up and down quite a lot, but I cut the action on the first solid movement at the bottom of the thumbs up on both the GoPro camera and then from my iPhone, where you can see me there chatting to Holly. So once I finished syncing all the clips there, I just neatened up my multicam container, making sure all the clips were stretched out nicely to fill the space as much as they could using the trimming handles, and then it was time to sync the clips. Now this really is the fun part, where you feel like you're in a gallery of a TV production studio. I like to switch my clips sometimes while they're static, so not actually playing through the footage, but you can also do it like that, where you're watching it through, making changes as the action takes place. It's completely up to you. Now my plan was never to use the entire shoot, but instead to pick and choose the best sequences. So I was really happy with the footage I got, and I'm going to be splitting this multicam container up as I make my edit later on.
I think editing this together today has really highlighted some of the challenges that you can face in a multicam shoot and edit. For example, first up, I can actually see myself in some of the shots. If I was to do this again, I wouldn't be running around like a headless chicken like that. I would actually be staying out of the shots sometimes just to make sure I get the shoot without me in every single shot. Probably also wouldn't wear a bright purple top. Second lesson I've also learned is when you've got a lot going on set, it's also really useful, if you can, to have more than one person helping you shoot. You can see in this scenario here, I was actually panicking a little bit because I had to make sure I was capturing as much content as I could, getting close-ups, getting wide shots without getting in the athlete's way. I didn't know where they were going to go next. So of course, something like this is a little bit harder when it's unexpected. So doing a multicam shoot where you know what's going to happen, maybe people are sitting in one place like a concert, an orchestra, something like that where people are in designated spots, might be a little bit easier. And thirdly, by using different cameras, although I set them to the same settings, it has been quite tricky getting the right colour balance between the different cameras. So if I was to do this again, I'd make sure I was using the exact same camera to shoot all of the different angles with. So there we go guys, that's my multicam edit. As you can see there, it didn't actually take that long to do. So now I'm going to take that container away, I'm going to pick the best bits from it, and I'm going to add in my B-roll, my voiceover, my interviews, and make it into a nice little package. And this is what it looks like.
We just arrived.
Yeah, really good, excited. Can't wait to get started. This is a really great way to see where you're at with your fitness and your health, and it gives you a really good point to measure on next year to see if you've improved, to see how well your training's going. We've had a great trip, and hopefully the body can manage it and get through. Oh, it was so good. It was harder than I thought, but it was really good. I expected it to be slow and steady, and then maybe get easier with the weights. It didn't. The weights got really tough. The weights got really tough really quick. I'm really happy. I wanted one muscle up. I had 2 attempts at it, missed one, but I got one, so I hit what I wanted, got my target. You've got to do it. It's so much fun. It doesn't matter whether you're old, you think you're old and weak, or you're young and fit. Anyone in the world can do this and take part and enjoy themselves.